Welcome everyone to San Francisco Zine Fest Cyberfest. Cyberfest is happening right now from September 6th to September 26th. Our website is sfzinefest.org, and we are here today thanks to Intersect with the Arts and ProBonoASL. And welcome to our guest of honor panel. It is a Q&A with our guest, Alex L. Combs. Before we get started, just to give you an intro to today's format, we're just going to quickly do an intro, talk a little bit about house rules and expectations. I am Lauren Davis. I'm going to introduce myself, and I'm going to introduce our artist, Alex. Alex will share their work. Then there will be a Q&A. Whoops. And we'll have some questions from the viewers, if any of the viewers have questions, and then a closing out where we'll talk about more of the events that are happening. San Francisco Zine Fest was founded in 2001 as a gathering place for writers and artists from around the world, but especially the Bay Area, typically held as a one-day event at the County Fair Building in Golden Gate Park. Our 2019 festival had about 240 exhibitors and over 5,000 attendees. Due to COVID-19, our festival in 2020 is 100% virtual. And what is Cyberfest? We have 3 weeks of online programming running from today, September 6th through September 26th. We will have exhibitor show and tell, various readings, workshops, demos, interviews, etc. And we are going to have 3 guests of honor. This week, our first guest of honor is going to be Alex L. Combs, who uses he, they pronouns. Week 2, we're going to have Jeff P. Sun, who uses he, him pronouns. And in week 3, we will have Tana Tucker, who uses she, her pronouns. And I just want to quickly talk about our Safer Spaces policy. This applies to our in-person fest as well. We are committed to providing a harassment-free experience for everyone, regardless of their gender, gender identity expression, sexual orientation, disability, physical appearance, body size, race, or religion. We will not tolerate harassment at SFZF form events in any form. Individuals violating the Safer Spaces policy may be sanctioned or expelled from the space or the event at the discretion of any SF Zine Fest organizer. So we just ask that you respect people's opinions, beliefs, differing states of being, and differing points of view. Always get explicit verbal consent before taking someone's photo or crossing other personal boundaries. Be responsible for your actions and aware that they may have an effect on others regardless of your original intent. And a safe and respectful community is everyone's responsibility. Guidelines for tonight's event. Folks who are in the Zoom meeting, please keep your video off to prevent lagging. The host, guest of honor, and ASL interpreters will have their videos on. Please keep yourself on mute unless you are presenting. If you have a question, ask in the chat, and there will be chat moderators to assist you. ASL interpretation is provided by Artie, Anchondo, and Ashley Rodriguez of ProBonoASL. You can pin the interpreter's window on Zoom, and we will be broadcasting it to Facebook Live and YouTube today. Be mindful for folks who are blind or visually impaired by being specific and descriptive when sharing your work. And this Zoom session is being recorded and broadcast to Facebook and YouTube. And above all, please be respectful. As I said, I am Lauren Davis. I use she and they pronouns. I am an SF Zine Fest organizer, cartoonist, comic book writer, and educator. I primarily make educational comics about US law, science, and weird history. I co-created the graphic novel Debbie and Pearl Digital Detective with Mel Hilario and Katie Longeaway. It was published in 2019 by Lionforge, and Debbie and Pearl uses a futuristic detective story to teach readers about computer science concepts. I also make funny digital paintings of fancy people with dog heads. And of course, our guest of honor today is Alex L. Combs. Alex is an artist and educator who likes to create comics that are fun to look at with engaging and sometimes personal narratives. Their visual style has been described as indie comics plus manga, with influences including anime, fine art, illustration, portraiture, tattoo, and sign painting. Alex's first self-published comics were fanzines, and a lot of their art is related to being queer and a geek. They enjoy connecting with fan communities and attending zine, comic, and anime conventions and festivals. Alex studied art and gender in school, earning a BA in 2011 and MFA in 2019, and is combining these areas of study to write and draw a graphic novel with their partner, Andrew. Welcome, Alex.
Wow, hi Lauren. Thank you so much for that amazing introduction. And thank you to everyone here working behind the scenes to put on this festival. And I'm truly honored to be one of three amazing guests of honor. It's pretty cool that even though maybe that's a silver lining of what's going on, which is that we get to have a month-long festival and feature even more amazing artists. Make sure to check out Tana and Death in the next couple weeks. And also, I'll be hosting Thinking Captions panel with it was hard to pick three of my favorite, but I picked three Zinesters who have meant a lot to me personally to do a discussion. And we're going to do a little live drawing, and I'll show you their websites in a minute. But let's see, I better introduce myself. My name is Alex Combs, and he, him, or they, them for me, please. I am an artist, and I'm located in San Francisco. I've been self-publishing comics for about 10 years. My first self-published comic I exhibited at an anime convention in 2009, and it was, I had 2 fan comics based on anime and video games, which were romantic and erotic themed. Haven't been doing many anime cons lately. My work's kind of shifted a little bit away from that, but I still try to geek out whenever I can with fan communities of various kinds. Let's see, I'm from North Carolina. I was born in Asheville, lived all over the state. I moved to California in 2013. It was the first time I had lived outside of North Carolina. Really have been enjoying living here despite many challenges. Honestly, when I go back to my hometown, the same thing is happening there, what's happening in the Bay Area as far as difficulties with housing, not being able to find good enough paying jobs to pay for that housing. Let's see. So I went to school. So aside from the self-publishing, I also went to art school. In undergraduate, I did a double major in what they called women's studies, which was actually a brand new major at the time. But some of the students were still writing in gender studies or gender/women's studies. And I also got a double focus in a BA in printmaking, which was my focus for my BA in art. And then I got my master's here in California at California College of the Arts with a focus in comics. And I just earned that MFA last year. I really enjoy being in college environments. And since graduating, I've been trying out teaching, which I found that I really enjoy. I've had the pleasure of teaching a variety of age ranges, from teaching comics to kids in an after-school program to had the opportunity to be a guest teacher at an undergraduate art therapy class, which was amazing. And I've also had the opportunity to run some comics workshops with older adults, which was incredibly rewarding. I'm definitely looking to continue teaching art, maybe comics and maybe other formats, such as printmaking, which I'd love to get back into at some point. Let's see, my first Zine Fest, my first San Francisco Zine Fest, I believe was 2015, and Mari Naomi was the guest that year. Naomi was the guest of honor that year. And I was trying to kickstart a comic at the time. And so my proposal for exhibiting was I would have a sample of the comic I wanted to get printed to sort of get it out there and get people looking at it and aware of it. At the time, I was even less internet savvy and social media savvy than I am now. So making those connections through the San Francisco Zine Fest was so crucial for me, and I'm so grateful for that opportunity. That's the wonderful thing about events like the Zine Fest is it gives those opportunities to make connections with other artists, as well as people who might be interested in your art or your writing, and just to meet wonderful people and get some amazing zines. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and just show you a little bit of my artwork, because you're probably wondering, what the heck do I even do? All right. So hopefully my screen is sharing. Here we have my website, alexlcombs.com. You can go on here and read a lot of my comics for free. A lot of the stuff I do, actually, I think almost all of the stuff on here is nonfiction or is inspired by, even this one, The Mannequin, is a horror themed comic, but it's based on a dream, a nightmare that I had. This one about Louis Braden Sullivan. Lou Sullivan is about a trans activist who lived here in the Bay Area. This one in the middle is called Count Me, Why I Took the US Transgender Survey, which was a major survey in 2015 by the Transgender Center for Equality. I was very proud to participate in this survey, and this is just a comic about why I took it and why I think it's important. We've also got some stuff about my cat, because you gotta have, I always gotta draw cat comics. Cats are one of my favorite subject matter. This is a little comic, just like really, I'll just click it. A short little comic about the history of the slash pairing Kirk and Spock, which I actually read about from an interview with a 50-year Trekkie of, I'm not sure her age, but she was, she's passed on, but she considered herself a fandom grandma. That's what she would call herself. And she recalled when they would call this pairing, they would have like a little secret code and they would call it the premise. I thought that was kind of cool. So I just like to make comics about things that I think is interesting, usually relating to LGBT plus issues. This Flowering of Old Age is the zine I created with the older adult group, the elder group. I sort of led a series of workshops where they created drawings and writing, and it's sort of like a collaborative zine. It has some of my drawings, sort of introducing it. And I guess you can't see all of the interior pages on here, but you can actually download it. I have a link to download the whole thing, but it has their artwork and writing in it. Let's see. So most of the stuff you're going to find on here is going to be related to, it's not so much my, I guess, fan art, but I still do like to do that stuff too. Here you can actually get to my store by clicking on my website store or going to Gumroad/Alex L. Combs. This is my web store at the moment. My most recent zine is this trans-themed Harry Potter fanzine, Trans-Affirming Magical Care, which is a anthology featuring a bunch of different artists and writers. We've got comics, poetry, we've got like an op-ed, and let's see, this is just where I wanted to show that it had the really neat sign. This is one of the comics by Oliver Northwood. Really cute trans Lupin story. And this is by Awan Mance, which is this really cool idea about what if Hogwarts had a queer trans alliance, and they made this sort of yearbook spread, which I'm absolutely in love with. So this is actually, the physical copies have sold out. However, you can go to the PDF only and purchase a copy for $10. And at the end of this talk, I'm going to do a little giveaway. So stay tuned for that. Let's see. You will not find this comic on my website called Titty Bar Tales. However, this was the comic I was trying to crowdfund at the first SF Zine Fest that I went to. But you can read it all for free at tittybartales.com. So this is an autobiographical comic, which I started in 2008 about working as a stripper as a topless dancer. And this artwork was done in 2008, even though up here it says 2015. This is when I first actually purchased the website. It was originally on the Duck webcomics at the time, which was called Drunk Duck at the time. This is the most recent comic, which I actually drew one in 2019. And you can kind of see how my art style has improved a little bit between these two. And let's see, I just want to show, actually, I'll go ahead and show you the websites for the 3 guests that I'll be moderating at the Thinking Captions panel, which are Shuchita Mishra, who's a teacher here in the Bay Area, who I went to school with. She does these really fun, soft illustrations about these sort of goofy characters that she's made up, along with just things that inspire her every day. And this is Maxi Rodriguez, who's going to be there, who I also went to school with. You're going to see a trend here, who does fat positivity art through this character, Chubby Bunny, who is, it's very fun, but it also tackles some quite serious issues. And it's also just very positive. It tackles serious issues with a fun attitude. I'll say it that way. And the third person, whom I also went to school with, is Brina Nunez, who actually just did this comic for the Nib, which is up for an Ignatz Award. Make sure you check this out. You can actually go and vote on this page. I actually can't remember, even though they just told me when the voting closes, but I should have written it down. But you can go here to the Small Press Expo website and vote for Brina's comic. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing now. And I'm not sure how long I've gone or if I've taken up my 12 minutes yet, but I was just going to hold up. This is the Titty Bar Tales comic that I mentioned, or this is the one that I just showed you, but in the book format. Super happy with how it came out. I have about 5 copies left. You could go on my website and get one on tittybartales.com. Or you can just read it for free on there. And this is the Harry Potter fanzine. This is an artwork by Maya Kobabe, who contributed this amazing piece about non-binary tonks. I've also got physical copies of just some of my zines, just for fun. Again, you can read these all on my website. But if you want to go on the Gumroad, I think I have a couple of them up for $2 if you feel like throwing me $2. The only one I'm really charging for is the Harry Potter fanzine, because we are donating that money to a UK-based trans charity called Gendered Intelligence. So I am charging a little bit more for that one, $10. I also just thought I'd show really quick I like to do illustrations too, and I feel like my comics don't really reflect that. So thought I'd show some of my illustrations. This is like paint, and I don't know if you can see the bows are shiny. I like to do like kind of fun, glittery, magical feeling artwork. I don't actually have these. I'm moving it around a bit. Hopefully that's not too annoying, so you can kind of see the shiny stars. I don't have these. Say again?
It looks great. We can see the shininess.
Got some little sparkly fuzzball critters. I don't actually have these up anywhere, but if anyone wants to obtain one, feel free to email me through the address on my website, email address. This is like, the spider web is painted on this one with some silver ink, or it's actually some silver leafing, and it's got some rhinestones on there. This one's pretty fun. I just wanted to incorporate anything that I found. I don't know if you can tell, but the googly eyes actually work. But in any case, just 2 more I'm going to show. This one I called Cat Planet, and it's got like a shiny ring around it. And this last one, spider, half pug dog. Also got the glitter and the silver ink on there. And one more thing I'd love to show is the San Francisco Zine Fest had these gorgeous prints done, working with Tiny Splendor, who is a risograph printer, among other things. I think they do silkscreen and other printing techniques as well. But I've always wanted to get a risograph print done because you can get these amazing bright colors, which I love to use bright colors, but they're very hard to reproduce in physical print. So that's where the risograph is really awesome, because they actually just load the tanks, the ink tanks, I'm not sure what they're called, with the brightest color that they want. So here's the Zine Fest poster. You can actually see it on the Zine Fest website, and I have signed and numbered a limited edition of 20 of these. And this is just all going to support the San Francisco Zine Fest. It's all volunteer run, so please consider obtaining one of these prints. And I also have some stickers on there. Oh, I didn't bring up the picture of the stickers, but it's just another cat themed sticker. So definitely check those out. Let's see. I think I was supposed to maybe take like 12 minutes, but I didn't check the time when I started talking.
You actually have plenty of time.
Okay, so do I have time to, so I was thinking about reading a comic out loud.
Yeah, definitely. Go for it. I think it would be great.
So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen again. So let's see here. So what I'd like to read to you is my comic that is in Trans Affirming Magical Care, which I drew. And it's about being a Harry Potter nerd with me and my friends. So I'm just gonna make a huge dork out of myself and read this out loud to you. Okay. Bear with me one moment because I'll get the hang of this. All right. I'm thinking of drawing a comic about that time we all went trick-or-treating as Harry Potter characters. Cool. What about it? About how it felt for all of us being trans boys, but not having that word, or being able to have our identities legitimized. I clearly remember feeling gender euphoria, even though I didn't know what that was yet. And this is Alex. I drew this. This is Zeb in the middle, my little brother. And this is Andrew, who is my boyfriend. Oops, 1 second. This comic is starring Alex as Ron Weasley, Zeb as Harry Potter, and Andrew as Draco Malfoy in Draco Learns to Share by all three of us. I actually identified more with Ron, but you were such a great Harry. Just gonna zoom in here. Yeah, okay, we were too old to be trick-or-treating. We didn't care, we just wanted to have fun together. I'll admit it, I'm curious about this muggle custom. Since neither of you have ever done this, follow my lead. Is that a giant spider over there? So, you extort muggles for sweets. Is that the trick part? We were sort of like playing Draco and Ron as sort of dumb wizards who don't know about trick-or-treating. So, did it feel gender affirming? Yeah, yes. My favorite characters were all boys, and I wanted to be in character as much as possible, especially in a group where we're all using each other's names. Ding dong. I'm going to make them fill my whole bag. No, Malfoy, you have to accept what you're given. Why do they have to decorate everything with spiders? Oh, what I got myself into. I couldn't wait to be Draco so I could tease both of you the whole night. It's kind of cute. Can I hold him? Okay. Me and Alex had fun trying to gang up on you too. Flying rat! No! Scabbers! Holy crap, we didn't know the rat was actually a person yet. You monster! Will you pin him back, please? Giggle, giggle. Sure, there you go, little guy. Halloween was one of the few times that we could get people to see that we were boys. People would be like, hey, it's Harry Potter. And I was like, No one's paying attention to my boobs. Since I've never gotten to do this before, I think it's only fair that you each give me some of your candy. Huh? I actually used to feel much more present in reality when embodying a character. Playing make-believe felt more real than my day-to-day reality. I could probably write a whole essay about why. Damn it, Potter, call off your Weasley. The only thing I'm gonna give you is a black eye. Draco Malfoy! Are you asking for charity? What? No, Here, you're poor, take mine. Okay, I am totally poor. I think it had to do with us being able to see each other as boys. Similar to why I like cosplaying at anime cons, if I was dressed as a male character, then anyone who recognized me would play along. Good one, Harry. I get the trick part now. And if we were cosplay together, we could go out in public as a group, and it didn't even matter that no one else got it. Calm down, Malfoy. We're all gonna share it. Speak for yourself. Kind of like when all the Care Bears line up and do their Care Bear stare. It's more powerful when they all do it together. The end. Okay, so thank you so much for listening to me present my comic. Again, that is in this fanzine, which I'm going to do a little giveaway at the end of this talk. Okay.
Awesome. That was amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm super excited about this. I remember when you and I first met, you were going to events at the CCA MFA in comics in the city stuff, and now look at us, we both graduated. Yay!
I know, and I was so excited when I heard that you were going to be moderating this panel.
Yay! I'm excited. Okay, so next up, I'm going to ask Alex a few questions. Those of you who are watching the live stream, you can also ask questions, and volunteers will just pass those questions on to us. And if anybody in the Zoom chat wants to ask a question, that's cool too. So first of all, Alex, I just want to ask, like, what got you into like actually making comics?
Well, it's funny because I remember making comics as pretty young, at least by middle school, but I don't remember owning any comics. So I'm not really sure where I got the idea, but I suppose I just knew that they existed, and got the general basic concept behind it. I was really into children's picture books. One of my favorite ones was Ursula K. Le Guin's Cat Wings. Still an amazing series of kids' books. And I actually made my first fanzine based on Cat Wings, the Cat Wings universe, which I didn't know it was a fanzine at the time, but in retrospect, it was a fanzine. Let's see. Like I mentioned, the first ones I actually self-published were those ones for the Anime Con, which were the doujinshi inspired fanzines, and I think like the autobio stuff came in a little bit later. Once I started, I remember seeing some of Alison Bechdel's Dykes to Watch Out For in college. That definitely like put something in my mind, like, oh, I could just draw like little vignettes of me and my friends, or something. Like, it doesn't have to be like this long epic story. And I think that led to me feeling confident enough to start the Titty Bar Tales comic, which sort of opened up the whole more autobio nonfiction path as I got older. Let's see. How's that? Comics are an amazing format. You can convey so much information that you cannot convey with pictures or words alone.
So I know you've talked a little bit about how like your autobio comics about like stripping and your gender identity, like people talk about them as being educational. And reading them, there's like really a definite sense that you're like really bringing the reader in to your space and making your experience available to them in this really accessible way. So when you're making those comics, how do you have like a certain reader in mind? And is there like something specific that you're hoping to communicate to them?
First of all, thank you. I appreciate hearing that. I definitely do hope to, I guess, shed light on maybe areas of life or society that maybe are a little bit stigmatized, often due to a lot of reasons, but hoping to maybe disperse a little bit of that stigma by creating narratives that will open people's minds to those things a little bit. I guess in that sense, it's educational and also just wanting to convey information that I find that's interesting, especially relating to the history of trans people and just what I'll call just gay history in general. Who do I have in mind? I feel like even like the Titty Bar Tales, which is set in a strip club, is not really super adult. It's more, it's not really intended to stimulate or be titillating erotically. It's more like just, did you know this about strip clubs? Or here's, something you might not have realized, or here's what a typical night is like. Just like more informational, I guess, and also just like silly things that happen too, because I do like drawing slapstick, and I like drawing goofy looking characters. One thing that I would probably change were I to be drawing Titty Bar Tales now, first of all, stripping is one of those a little bit less marginalized forms of sex work just because of its semi-legal status. It sort of is in that gray area. And also the way that I interfaced with that, because of my race, because of my class, because of being able-bodied and other reasons, my experience was very privileged. And were I making that comic now, I think I would have liked to include that angle a little bit more. But nonetheless, hope you check out the comic. So where I was going with that is I feel like it's teen to adult, because even if it's a teen, I feel like the parent I feel like there are some parents who would review a lot of the stuff I'm drawing and think, yes, this is okay for my teenager, especially if they were to talk it through together. So yeah, I guess that's the audience I'm going for.
I must say, I always appreciate that Titty Bar Tales is very like, I feel like I got a window into a world, but it wasn't lurid or like, there wasn't a lot of like spectacle around it. Like, it's just like, oh yeah, walking in those shoes is hard.
Yeah. Just sort of the non-glamorous side of it, which is that you're going to have, your feet are going to hurt and you're going to have blisters all to hell.
Well, so you've done a lot of this autobio work. I've also seen comics from you that are fictional, but like inspired by your own experience. And as we saw from your website, you've also been doing a lot of more like queer history comics, a lot of more historical comics. What do you like about the different genres and the different approaches to storytelling?
So to me, all those things feel very connected on a continuum. between the more straightforward, I'm trying to present facts from history or a person's life from history. Because to me, learning those stories gives meaning to the present, and it gives meaning, it helps me make meaning of my experiences, my feelings, my perceptions, and often to learn that those are embedded in things that I did not realize. And that's the power of learning history. So to me, it's almost like I can't write about now without looking at then. And yeah, I again hoping, you know, by presenting those stories that it will provide some insight, you know, for other people as well.
Very cool. Okay, so I'm going to shift gears a little bit. I want to talk about your text art. Because you have super amazing text art. One year I did a text art Inktober, and then you did a text art Inktober, and I was like, oh, this is blowing me out of the water.
Oh, yours was great.
Thank you. But there's a lot of, like, I feel like there's a lot of cartooning like in your text art, and I'm just like so curious like how your comics process, like how your comics practice like integrates with your text art.
Sure. So I actually used to get in trouble at school for how bad my handwriting was. Honestly, I've always been very messy with my handwriting, and it's almost been like an issue. So it's something I've strived to get better at actively. And what really did it was when I joined the sign team at Trader Joe's, and I actually got to be trained by some people who did like actual sign art, other outside of that context too. And yeah, like you said, with it looks like it's cartooning. That's the whole idea behind it, is you want to not approach it like handwriting. You want to approach it like you're drawing the letters and like you're drawing the words just as much as you're drawing any picture. I guess that would be my one piece of advice about lettering, is approach it just like you would approach any aspect of your drawing. And it's fun. Again, it's something I've practiced a lot, and I'm definitely not like by far a professional letterer, because some of these people just will blow you away. I'm
always just impressed by it. Every time I see it, I can just like, I could watch you draw text for hours. Just sit there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to put together a video, which I never got to upload last Inktober, because I did some speed recordings, some time-lapse recordings of doing it, because I know that stuff can be very soothing to not only do, but to watch. So hopefully I'll finish making that video. I have all the clips and get that up there for this Inktober, since I don't think I'll have time to actually participate this year.
Yes, please. I would like to see that.
I even did my nails for each video. I'll get that up in October.
Perfect. So you talked a bit about the organizing collaborative zines that you've been doing. So you have the Elder Zine, and you have the Transforming Magical Care Zine. And I'm really curious, like what drew you to pulling together collaborative zines like that, and what's the process been like? Is this something that you enjoyed? Like, are you going to do it more?
Absolutely. I mean, there are definitely challenges, but putting together that zine is probably one of the more rewarding experiences that I've ever had. I loved connecting with the fans. I loved seeing each piece of artwork and each submission from all the artists that I reached out to who agreed to participate in my harebrained scheme. And I was worried that I was having more fun, you know, than anyone else. But honestly, I had participated in a couple fanzines as a contributor, so I had a little bit of an idea of the process, so that helped. It is definitely something I would do again. So I'd like to ramble about that for a minute. So we started the fanzine right after, excuse me, just drank some bubbly water. Right after J.K. Rowling had sent some tweets in support of an anti-trans activist. However, it was before she started writing her doctorate on Twitter. She's apparently trying to write an entire, I don't know, thesis on what I'm sure she calls gender critical feminism. I haven't read all of her essays because, oh my God. Basically, when she sent that tweet in support of this anti-trans activist, what had happened was this person who worked at a law firm went to the courts because she wanted the right to essentially misgender her coworkers. And her law firm that she worked for decided not to renew her contract. She was not fired. They decided not to renew her contract. And she was very outspoken against trans people on her social media, etc. So when J.K. Rowling tweeted in support of her, that to me was a clear enough signal that this wasn't just a middle-aged moment or something like that. And it's really ridiculous that these people, also known as TERFs, you may have heard of that, say that they are defending women's rights. And even I've seen JK saying that she's sort of championing gay rights. And I just really need to be clear that discrimination against trans people is connected to discrimination against women. It is connected to discrimination against gay and lesbian and other marginalized sexualities. It is deeply connected to racism. It is connected to imperialism and ongoing colonialism. Policing the boundaries around the gender binary has a history that goes back to ideas about eugenics, which is connected to the Western European colonial expansion during that time period. They saw sexual ambiguity. They thought white people were more advanced because men and women were more sexually dimorphic, which means that men are very different than women. And you can clearly tell women and man very binary. And they saw sexual ambiguity or gender ambiguity. They associated that with primitive cultures, which of course they applied to Black and brown people. And they use that to say, well, we're more advanced. And they use that to justify the colonial expansion and the subjugation of other people. And if sexual ambiguity or gender ambiguity appeared in white people, they would say, well, it's a throwback and it's manifesting a degenerative aspect. It's going back evolutionarily. So there's very clear ties and to some very problematic thinking. as far as J.K. Rowling acting that she is a champion of women and gay rights. Just wanted to get that out there. So hopefully that makes sense when I talk about how the history comics are deeply connected to anything else I'm writing about myself and my experience, or anyone else's voices that I'm attempting to amplify in contemporary voices. It's all connected. So I would love to do more anthologies in the future.
And just briefly, like what is, I mean, what does your art practice look like in 2020 when?
So I am continuing with these themes that I've been talking about. I'm working on a project. I'm not allowed to announce yet, but I'm very excited to do so in the next couple of weeks, actually. Was kind of hoping I'd be able to hear, but unfortunately not. But just continuing with everything I've been talking about so far. And hopefully I'll get a chance to do some more little fun paintings and stuff.
I'm really digging the paintings. I hadn't seen all of those before.
Thank you. Let's see. Should we do the giveaway?
Sure, yes, let's do that.
So I have 2 physical copies of Trans Affirming Magical Care left over. 2 copies, which I will send to you free of charge. All you have to do is email this address. Just quickly tell me why you want the zine in 1 or 2 sentences. And the first 2 emails I get, I will send you the zines free of charge. Don't worry about the capital HP in the middle. I just capitalized it to make it easier to read. It's transhpzine@gmail.com. The first 2 emails that I get, you don't need to write an essay. Just quickly tell me why you want it, just so I know you actually want it in a sentence or 2, and I will send it to you. Otherwise, you may purchase the PDF from the Gumroad for $10. If you are trans and you can't afford the zine, you can also email me at this email address, and I will send you a digital copy of the zine. But if you want the physical one, go ahead and email me. And the first 2, I will actually send you these last 2 copies. Okay, so hopefully, or maybe I could drop that in the chat really quick.
I think only the people in the Zoom can see the chat.
Oh,
so.
Okay. Well, hopefully they copied it down if anybody wanted it.
So one more time, that's transhpzine@gmail.com.
Yes, transhpzine@gmail.com.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Alex. This has been really delightful, and I'm so glad that we got this time to hang out over the computer and talk about your work.
Thank you so much, Lauren, and thank you so much. I'm not sure who the interpreter is on the screen right now, but I think it was Ashley, or maybe the name of the group was Ashley.
Ashley Rodriguez with ProBonoASL.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. I feel super, I don't know, honored. Thank you.
Alex, before we go, I also wanted to, actually, let me should I turn on my video, Lauren? Okay. Let me start my video so you can see that it's actually me talking. Okay. I wanted to share this certificate from the California legislature, from the Assembly, and it's signed by Assembly Member Philip Y. Ting and David Chu. And it's a certificate of recognition for Alex L. Combs
What?
at the 19th annual San Francisco Zine Fest, recognizing that Alex L. Combs, on the occasion of being recognized as a guest of honor at the Zine Fest, your work using the power of art to explore personal narratives and engage with the zine, comic, and anime fan communities is commendable. Congratulations on this notable occasion.
Wow,
And
that is so awesome. Thank you, Anand.
Yeah, of course. I'm just gonna share my screen. So you can
It was so fancy. Love it. Aw.
All right. I'm going to stop so Lauren can continue back. Just want to add that. And we'll get you the original certificate, like the physical copy. We'll mail it out to you.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much.
Okay, so I'm just going to wrap up with just a little bit more information on Cyberfest. And okay. If I do this in the correct order, I am just going to let everybody here know a little bit about upcoming Cyberfest events. Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, and Saturday this week. Monday, Tuesday, and Friday this week, we will be having show and tell with various exhibitors. Those will run from 6 to 7 p.m. So Monday, September 7th, we'll have a show and tell at 6. Tuesday, September 8th, we'll have a show and tell at 6. Friday, September 11th, we'll have a show and tell at 6. And on a Saturday, September 12th, we'll have a show and tell at 2 o'clock. We will also have a closed event on Wednesday, September 9th. That will be Intro to Book Binding through San Francisco Center for the Book. We will have Alex hosting Thinking Captions with your guests on Thursday, September 10th, starting at 5 o'clock, which I am very much looking forward to. And we will have a casual drawing, zine making hangout on Saturday, September 12th from 1 to 2 p.m. Thank you to ProBonoASL for providing ASL interpretation. This has been just super amazing, and it has just been a huge help to us, and we very much appreciate it. So San Francisco Zine Fest is a member of Intersection for the Arts. This is also hugely important to us. Intersection for the Arts is a bedrock Bay Area arts nonprofit that provides people working in arts and culture with fiscal sponsorship and resources to grow. So that is how San Francisco Zine Fest is able to be a nonprofit with the help of Intersection for the Arts. And if you are an artist interested in arts nonprofits, I highly recommend checking out Intersection. All right, everybody. So thank you once again to everybody. Thank you to our volunteers. Thank you to our interpreters. Thank you to Alex for just making this panel fantastic. And this is going to be the last event for the day. You can, if you missed the earlier panels, you'll be able to check them out on our Facebook page and on our YouTube page. And thank you so much, everybody, and have a great evening.